All right, folks, this is not a small dip. This is an economic warning sign. Canada has lost more than 32,000 jobs. And as we speak about Canada losing jobs, United States gained more than 200,000 jobs. But let's get back to us and how can this impact us and how will it impact our real estate sector and the economy overall? I have a couple of short clips. Let's see those and we'll talk about it, and let's get deeper into the whole economic situation in Canada.
So I was fired today and wanted to come on because I feel like, number one, this happens to a lot of people. And I was really blindsided by it. The reason I wanted to come on, number one, is because I feel like this happens to a lot of people, and it's like shocking and a lot to process.
Happy Monday. I never really get on here and speak, so I wanted to share a quick story time about what I've been going through for the past month. So, for those of you who may or may not know, I was laid off from my job on January 17th because the company decided that my position was no longer needed and that they're restructuring.
So I went into work today and I got fired. They said that it's within my 90 days and they're utilizing the probationary rule. So no longer working at Costco.
Well, not how I wanted to start my 2025. I was just laid off. This is actually the first time I've ever been laid off, so I don't really know what to even do or how to process anything. I just dropped off my laptop. It sucks the most because I seriously was only at this company for 2 months. I literally got this job in October and loved every single second of it. Unfortunately, the company was acquired and a lot of us were let go.
I get it. There are a lot of people out there. They're very optimistic when it comes to the spring market in Toronto and when it comes to the market magically seeing that increase, that boom, and seeing those numbers go up. And yes, some of these clients even were questioning why hasn't it dropped yet? What is stopping it for that collapse? Well, this might be the biggest ingredient yet. Because if we see unemployment rise, and that's a big warning signal. More than 32,000 people lost their jobs. Having said that, all those jobs were obviously full-time, good-paying jobs. Can they replace that job? Probably, but not with the same pay, not with the same security, and not with the same company. Which brings us to the other problem, and that is the cash flow. So majority of the people in the market today have that issue with the cash flow. Businesses have the issue with the cash flow. In 2025 and 2026, a huge chunk of Canadians will renew their mortgage. More than 1 million people will renew their mortgage. From the small ones and the small twos will all of a sudden overnight jump into the fours and fives, right? So that is a big burden. We have to understand that majority of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck. And some of these investors see a huge deficits, right? So what is the plan? It is hard to say because everybody's situation is completely different. Now, also having said that, a lot of people have different buffers, right? Like I've spoken to people that bought certain investment properties and they're writing high mortgages and whatnot, but they're relying on that particular segment, which is called debt, line of credit, and they're hoping that within time they will beat this inflation, they will beat the dip, and everything will come back to normal. The lights will get back on in 2025 and 2026. I personally think that some of these folks will be in a lot of trouble because they're depending and they're hoping that the spring market will show these high numbers and that the market will start moving, right? So when we're talking about recessions and stuff like that, in order for a government or for a country to declare the recession, right? Like they will need to be 100% certain that we are in a recession. They will not just declare there is a recession, right? But however, we're seeing that the market of February of 2025 has been the worst ever recorded. And then March of 2025, when it comes to real estate, has been the worst it has been recorded, right? So now we have the unemployment on top of that creeping up. We will have inflation on top of that creep up. So it's a perfect mix that is signaling only one thing, and it is recession, unfortunately. So what is the game plan? Well, everybody's game plan obviously is different. Maybe yours, it might be, look, if I have the chance to save a big chunk of funds, maybe you could do that. Maybe stop buying some stuff, right? Like that you might not need. Maybe it's not the time for you to buy the new car. Maybe it's the time to get rid of that investment. And maybe you have received some of the offers already, but you have declined it because you're hoping that the spring market for some reason will show you some incredible gains. It will not happen. And the question is, will we see gains and will we see peak to peak for another 10 years? I mean, the last peak that we saw was in 2022. So in order to catch these numbers, we will probably have to wait years upon years in order for us to see that peak again. Now, getting back into recessions, right? I believe by looking at the data, in the last 100 years, from 1925 to 2025, we had 12 declared recession. Now, from 2025 onwards, I believe that this one will be the 13th recession in Canada that will have the ingredients of the global recession, tariffs, bank failure, real estate collapse, and all of that stuff. So everybody, buckle up, prepare, try to prepare yourself, try to have a safety blanket, start thinking rationally, do the numbers rationally, not an expectation, but what the actual market is showing. I hope you gained some valuable insights and some value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.